Let's imagine the impossible. One day, every single person on Earth, all 8 billion of us, agrees to jump at the exact same time. Not just a half-hearted hop. No, we're talking about a coordinated, full-body, two-footed, 100% vertical leap. Maybe there's a giant countdown on screens around the world. Maybe everyone's wearing sneakers. Maybe there's music. It doesn't matter. What matters is that in one synchronized instant, humanity jumps. And then lands. The question is, what happens next? Would the Earth shake? Would we alter the planet's orbit? Could we knock the Earth off its axis? Or is this just one of those overhyped ideas that sounds dramatic but ends in a quiet meh? To answer that, let's start with some physics. But don't worry, we'll keep the math in its cage. When you jump, you push against the ground with your legs. According to Newton's third law, the ground pushes back with equal force, sending you airborne. If everyone jumped together, we'd all push against the Earth at once. That force, all 8 billion of us, would be transferred into the planet. Sounds massive, right? Until you realize just how small we are compared to the Earth. The average human weighs about 62 kilograms. Multiply that by 8 billion, and you get roughly 500 million metric tons of jumping mass. That's a lot for a trampoline. But Earth? Earth weighs about 6 trillion kilograms. That's 6 followed by 24 zeros. If everyone jumped, we'd deliver a tiny fraction of a nudge, enough to move the planet about 0.2 nanometers. That's less than the width of an atom. It's like trying to shift a cruise ship by blowing on it through a straw. So, no, we're not going to knock the Earth off its orbit, or tilt the axis, or even cause a noticeable wobble. But that doesn't mean nothing would happen. Let's zoom in. Imagine everyone is gathered in one place. Say, a massive desert the size of Rhode Island, covered in shock-absorbing rubber mats. At the final moment of the countdown, 3, 2, 1, jump. The ground trembles, not because the Earth is moving, but because we are. When we land, the energy doesn't just vanish. It travels through the ground as seismic waves. For a moment, humanity becomes an earthquake. Sensors around the world might pick up a faint blip, a global thump. In some regions, windows might rattle. In others, nothing at all. It'd be the world's weirdest, most synchronized stomp. Of course, people wouldn't all jump in the same place. We're scattered across cities, villages, mountains, islands, so those seismic waves, they'd mostly cancel out. Unless you live near a big, dense population center, you might not feel anything. It'd be like a party you weren't invited to and didn't notice was happening. But let's keep going. Would we hear it? Actually, yes. The sound of 8 billion bodies hitting the ground at once would be enormous. Not quite deafening, but definitely attention-grabbing. A global slap. Thunder without a storm. Birds might panic. Dogs would bark. Somewhere a car alarm would go off. It'd last maybe a second, then silence. But here's where it gets more interesting. What if everyone jumped and didn't land? Let's say we built giant platforms like sci-fi springboards and launched ourselves into the air with rocket-powered boots or industrial catapults. Still synchronized, still airborne. Would the missing weight, all 500 million tons of human flesh, affect the planet? Yes, barely. Removing that much mass from the surface would slightly alter Earth's distribution of mass. In theory, it might affect gravitational sensors or ever so slightly change the rotation of the planet for a millisecond. But Earth would adjust immediately, like a cat flicking its ear. The real chaos wouldn't come from the physics, it'd come from us. Think about the logistics. Getting every person to the same place, feeding them, coordinating time zones, keeping kids from jumping early, convincing cats to participate, not going to happen. And imagine the news coverage. Global jump event ends in mild disappointment, record number of sprained ankles. Or worse, we actually did it. The jump goes perfectly, the footage is stunning. For one brief second, the entire species leaves the ground. And then, everyone lands. At once. The sound? Tremendous. The force? Concentrated. The consequences? Trampolines break. Ankles twist. Someone forgets to bend their knees. In one unlucky spot, an old bridge collapses. Elsewhere, a building with poor foundations groans. A few statues fall over, insurance companies panic, social media explodes. For scientists, it's a data goldmine. For most people, it's a footnote, but for a few seconds, Earth held its breath and humanity hovered above it, united in the most ridiculous way possible. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. The real magic isn't in the physics. It's in the fact that it happened at all. That billions of people, different languages, different beliefs, different lives, did the same thing at the same moment. Not for survival, not for war, just to see what would happen. So, what if everyone on Earth jumped at the same time? The Earth would barely notice, but we might never forget.